It's as simple as that. And we all need to make sure that we pass legislation to protect people who do that, whether they're in the national security field or in the domestic area. In fact, in the idea of sort of saying that national security whistleblowers don't need protection is absurd on its face, because these are people who are dealing with our national security issues, and you would hope that we would welcome the notion that somebody who detects wrongdoing in a national security agency or fraud or abuse, waste of taxpayers' dollars, would feel free to come forward and report that, because it could be that obviously national security interests are at stake and something that affects all of our national security. And the notion that people who work for contractors somehow should not be protected also doesn't make sense, especially because we know that so many contractors, of course, in the business of doing work that's contracted out by the federal government. So if we accept the notion that federal employees should have whistleblower protections for exposing wrongdoing, it makes no sense to say you're not going to extend similar protections to people who are doing work contracted out by the government. And when it comes to other issues that aren't just dollars and cents issues in the narrow sense, but things like this integrity of the scientific process, it also makes sense that you provide some protection for people who say, listen, we just discovered that they've changed the report that was put together by scientists, and they changed it at the behest of some special interests. Again, we want to protect the public interest. So again, the principle that runs through all of these cases is it's important to, number one, not punish people for telling the truth, and in fact, we need to encourage people to tell the truth, because telling the truth is in the interests of our citizens and clearly in the interest of taxpayers when we're talking about ferreting out waste, fraud, and abuse. So I really salute all of you for what you're doing here. It was great to team up with Todd Platts in a bipartisan effort to pass the legislation in the House as part of the $790 billion economic recovery bill. There were a few people who said, really, you shouldn't be putting this provision on this bill. It doesn't belong here. Our response to that was, if it doesn't belong on a $790 billion bill, where does it belong? I mean, after all, if we're going to be spending that kind of money on behalf of the American people, we should make sure we're protecting the taxpayer. As you know, there were provisions in there related to state and local government employees to provide additional protections, and we thought we should, of course, also provide added protections for federal employees at the same time. I mean, why would we be only worried about exposing abuse at the local and state level and not making sure that we protect those who reveal waste, fraud, and abuse at the federal level in stronger terms? So we are going to keep this fight going. I want to also thank Congressman Waxman for his long efforts in this area. Of course, we had this bill in the House last year, and it passed the House. It has now passed the House twice, this last time by unanimous consent, meaning nobody got up and opposed it. We had some conversations on the floor about addressing some issues, and I'm sure we can find solutions to those issues. But unfortunately, as all of you know, when it got to the Senate and the House-Senate conference, we had some resistance from folks on the Senate side. And so we were not able to get everything we wanted. And so it's time to come back and finish the job. And with your help, I'm confident we can get the job done, because, as I said, when you're fighting for a principle as simple as the one that we're fighting for, which is that, let's make sure people don't get punished for telling the truth, I'm confident in the end that we will win this battle. So thank you for the award, but more importantly, thank you for everything that you're doing to fight this very important fight, and let's finish the job and win. Thank you.